Hi, my name is Elaine, and in today's video, I'm talking about failure, specifically mine. So I had a completely different video planned for this week. I'm gonna probably try and make this video as easy to edit as possible because I'm actually recording it on Sunday when it's meant to be up. So I will put it up tomorrow. But the reason I wanted to change the video I was doing was I was inspired by a content creator who does lots of different types of content, but mainly Instagram, called Roz Purcell. And she is Irish. And if you're not following her, I'm going to stick her handles here because the content that she creates is quite amazing. She does a lot to do with, she has a cookbook, bit of food. She also runs these hikes, which me and Ronan have gone on. And a lot of her content is just about like being yourself, body positivity, maybe the negative sides of social media, and then the positive sides, and then like recovering from eating disorders, so much. But it's really good for people, I think, around your 20s and 30s. And the content she creates is great. On Mondays, she does a thing called content. So happy content or content that will make you feel good. And her one on Monday was about failure. So in it, she talked about two major failures that she has had. And she was kind of coming from the point of view of that on Instagram, you see a lot of, you see the best bits of people, you see successes, and you see people talk about, if they've launched a company, how great the company's doing. You don't often see the failures behind the successes or the failures that were the learning points that led to more successful things. And she spoke about two of hers. One was that she launched a skincare brand a couple of years ago, which I actually remember her launching at the time, called Ripe. And it was like body scrubs and body wash, I think. And then the other one is that she launched a cafe, which I never knew until she posted that particular post. But I was quite inspired, and I've been thinking about it during the week, and I wondered, should I do a video on failures and particularly things that I've failed at? And one of my reluctance towards it is because the things that I've failed at, I don't see them anymore as failures. At the time, I felt like a failure when they'd happened, but I learned so much from each of them that I don't see them as failures. And if someone asks me, what have you failed at in your life? I don't know how easy it would be for me to answer. But I suppose there are things that disappointed me and made me feel like a failure at the time. And because my channel is about helping you to navigate through 20s and 30s, I wanted to go through them and share them with you so that if you are feeling the way I felt at that time, or if you think that the life that I portray on YouTube is perfect, I wanted to let you know that it isn't. So I probably am like most people who I failed at things at some point in my life. So these are the things that I have failed at. And also, I know that these things are probably not as big as like launching a company and the company not working out, but I do plan to fail more in my life in order to grow and in order to create and be successful. So these are just drop in the ocean, but they're mine. So my very first one is, when I did my leaving cert, which is like A-levels, or like your final exams in college, in school rather, before you go to college or university. I was studying economics and I loved economics and was really good at it. And all the way through my studies, I got A's. B was probably the lowest grade that I got. But for some reason, when it came to the Leaving Cert exam, there was a kind of a gap. First of all, I burnt myself out during the Leaving Cert, so that's a whole other story. But there was a gap between my second last exam, my last exam, and I think I just gave up. I think I let the pressure get to me and I was just finished with doing the exams and I wanted them over. And I got a C1 in my leaving cert and I was devastated in economics. And it's still, like, it doesn't bother me anymore, but at the time I remember being so upset because it was one of those grades that I just felt was like, at least I was definitely going to get a B. But I got a C1. I did get my exams rechecked and I think I managed to take the grade up, but it was such a disappointment at the time. And sometimes I think back to it and like, what did I learn from it? And I think for me it was that stress can really affect me. And that if I'm doing something stressful, like exams, that I need to get my stress in check, or it will affect my grades, like it did with economics. I still love economics. I love money related content. You see that on my channel. But it was one of the ones I can just remember at the time being so disappointed and it clouding the rest of my results, until I sort of said to myself, well, actually my mom said to me, you need to get past this because you have enough points to do what you want to do, and just because you are disappointed with this result does not make you a failure. My third one is that I co-founded a roller derby team. So if you don't know what roller derby is, I will put a link to it down below, but basically it's a full contact sport played on roller skates. There's no ball, but you skate around a track, and I'm not even going to explain it now because it's too complicated, but I will put a link down below. But I co-founded a roller derby team, and my ambition with it was to play my first bout. So we started from nothing. We didn't have any, we just started it as like a couple of girls together in a hall, and we managed to build the team up. I did a lot of the communication side of things and like PR stuff, and we all kind of used our skills for good with the roller derby team. And because we didn't have a structure to follow, it took us maybe a lot longer to get to a point where we could play a proper game. And my goal was to play a bout, so a full game. I can't even remember how long the games are, but as we were training, because we maybe weren't training in the best way that we possibly could have, I injured my knee and never ever got to play a full game. My knee was quite sore, and it led to like problems with my hip, and it was because you were skating the one direction and we weren't skating the other direction. But I never ever got to play, and I would watch the games and I got really upset and disappointed, and then the more I was away from the game, the more scared I became to ever go back to it, and I never did. And it's not a regret, because I don't have regrets. But at the time, it was something that was really disappointing to me, and something that I felt, again, that I had failed at. Okay, so this is a big one, and I may tell this full story someday, but back about 6.5 years ago, I was meant to move to Canada and emigrate for 2 years. I had quit my job, I had booked my flights, I had given up the lease to my apartment. I was living back at home for a period of time. I had saved all my money. I had everything sorted, accommodation for the first couple of weeks booked, and I was due to go with an ex-boyfriend of mine. And 10 days before we were due to go to Canada, it all fell apart. Our relationship, everything, it just completely fell apart, and the plans fell apart. And I was left devastated. And it was something, and I always still would like to live abroad for a period of time, but I'm still young, so I can still do it. And a period of time to me is anything over than a month or over. But I found it definitely very hard, because I'd given up my entire life to make this move, and then it didn't happen. And I remember saying to my friend at the time, I feel like such a failure, I've messed up, everyone's talking about me. And I remember she was like, people actually don't care about what you're doing as much as you think they do, and you are the person that cares most. So chances are nobody really cares beyond, everyone just wants to know you're okay. Now that you're okay, they're not going to care, and then you'll be doing something new in another couple of months, and everyone will just be talking about that. And she was dead right. I moved to Dublin after that. I met Ronan within 3 months, and we were dating after about 5 months. And my whole life is better because I moved to Dublin. I have a house. There's so many good things in my life as a result of the fact that I didn't go to Canada. But definitely for a good couple of months, I felt like that was a huge failure and a disappointment, and something that I didn't succeed at, and that I had missed out on this part of growing up because I didn't live abroad and didn't emigrate like a lot of my friends had to. And now I don't care. I'm happy I never moved. I'm happy with the way my life has turned out. But it was a huge turning point, disappointment, don't know, but it was a big failure. Then my third last one is that while I was doing this Canada thing and getting the Canada trip sorted, I had set the ambition that I wanted to become a journalist. And I would like to have been maybe like a TV reporter. And I wanted to be a journalist, and if I wasn't going to be a reporter, I was going to be a producer. So I moved to Dublin. I started volunteering in radio stations. I started getting jobs in radio stations. I did a diploma in journalism. I worked in the national broadcaster. I worked in another radio station, and I worked really hard to get myself to either reporter level or to producer level. But as time went on, something always held me back from progressing that bit further. What I've subsequently realised is it wasn't for me. For instance, being a reporter, you have to maybe make difficult phone calls, and you have to talk to people that you don't know, and you have to maybe approach people that you might feel uncomfortable approaching, and I don't like doing that. So that's a huge element of the job. When I decided that I was going to leave journalism, it actually took me a full year to leave. I knew that it wasn't right for me and that it wasn't my career path. But I found it very hard because I felt like this is something I'd worked towards for 5 years, and now I was failing. And I can remember it feeling almost like a breakup. Like, I'm happy now. I'm in social media, so I'm not too far from journalism. And like, a lot of what I do is research. But it was something that took me a good 12, maybe 18 months to come to terms with the fact that something I had wanted for so long was no longer going to be my reality, and I had to learn to be okay with that. And it's like when people say that they break up with someone where like you just grew apart. That's kind of what it was. It was like I grew apart from the career. And again, now I'm totally fine with it, but at the time I was quite sad and upset. My second last one then is, you may remember around this time last year, I launched something on my Instagram account and on my channel here called Project Health 2019. And I wanted to become the healthiest and best version of myself in 2019. And I was doing quite well. And then we got a dog in March, and I spent more time kind of focusing on the dog and actually being kind of in the moment and being present. And I just found that I had these amazing goals to keep Project Health going for 12 months, and I couldn't. I physically at the time wasn't maybe as well as I could have been, and it was adding extra stress to my life that I didn't need. And I was trying to do a career change, and there was loads of changes. Like last year was kind of the year of change, and I just took it out of my Instagram bio, never talked about it again, and never mentioned it. It was something I was determined to complete, and I didn't. But again, I am here and I am fine. My last ones is that I like to study courses, and I like to do night courses. And I have done some courses. For instance, I did one in interior design, I did one in journalism, I did one in AutoCAD. However, I have also started a number of courses and I have not finished them. So some of them I got some knowledge from, others I didn't get any knowledge from, or didn't get knowledge that I wanted from them. And I have lost out on money because I've paid for these courses and never completed them. So I have started and dropped out of the following courses. And these are short courses, so they're probably about 12 weeks long at most. Psychology, makeup, a QFA in banking, so like being a qualified advisor, financial advisor, and most recently, coaching, which is what I've talked about on this channel. And I no longer study those. Some of them I may go back to at some stage. Chances are I probably won't. Yes, I've lost money, but they just weren't for me. And I do believe in like trying to finish out things if you can, but not if they cause you unhappiness or it's just not what you want to do and you'd rather put your energy and time somewhere else. But yes, they are my failures. They are things that I've failed at or not completed or felt disappointed at the time. But again, like that, they're things that I no longer wanted to put my energy into, and I really believe that sometimes something just isn't right for you. Other times something can be right for you at a period of time, and then as you change or grow or move on, it's no longer right for you. If you feel like at the moment that you have failed at something, try to take a learning point from it, and then it won't be a waste. So you will have learned something from the experience. And if it's something maybe that you repeatedly have failed at, try to just learn something from it so that maybe you don't do it again, or if you do it again it doesn't bother you as much. But I think definitely for growth, failure is important because you learn from those mistakes and it helps you to make better choices or to do something different in the future. But that is my video for today. It's actually quite long and I didn't think it was going to be this long. So I'm going to have to chop a little bit of it out. But it was inspired by Roz Purcell, and where she talked about her failures and different things. This is not an exhaustive list. Like, this is not every single thing that I've ever not achieved. But these are just the main ones that came to mind when I thought about this video, and I thought about it throughout the week. So that is it for today's video. If you have any failures that you would like to share, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear them, because I love hearing the things that people haven't succeeded at, because you don't tend to hear them that often. And of course, if you like the video, thumbs up. If you are new to my channel and you have never seen me before, please click the subscribe button. And I'll be back with another video next Sunday. Thanks for watching.